Hey everyone, welcome to another G News podcast. Today we are joined by Ginny Andersen, who is Labour's spokesperson for treaty negotiations, the police, and jobs and income. Hey Ginny, welcome to the show.
Kia ora, Jared. Thanks for having me.
Hey, you're very welcome. Let's just start with trust in the police minister and his ongoing failed promise to deliver 500 new police by November. There's been a lot of political pressure on police recruitment, and we've seen the standards for recruitment being broken. What happened there, and can anybody now trust anything that Mark Mitchell says these days?
Well, I think it's almost becoming a farce, a bit of a joke. The government campaigned very hard on delivering 500 additional police officers to the front line. So November the 27th is the deadline, and so far they've got about 21 of that 500. So it is looking virtually impossible now for them to be able to meet that promise. So it is a real concern, particularly given the pressure on the front line. Things like methamphetamine makes life harder for cops to police our streets, and not having that extra resource promised does make real concern in our communities.
Auckland CBD is touted as a big success by Mark Mitchell, but is this really more about kind of cherry picking some data for one part of Auckland and then turning a blind eye to the rest of it? Were the government robbing the outer suburbs of their police resources in order to make the CBD look good?
100% correct there. So we know they took officers from counties Manukau, from the North Shore, and put them into the central city area. That's great for the CBD to have increased police visibility, but there are no extra police officers. They're just shifting police around. And so those people, those New Zealanders who live out in those suburbs who call and want a police officer to respond, those are the ones who are missing out on having a response quickly. So that's been a big concern. And what's compounded that problem is the increased homelessness we're seeing not only in the Auckland city centre, but also in Wellington as well. So their bad decisions on making it harder for people in need to access emergency housing has directly contributed to the sharp increase in homelessness. And that also contributes to all of the problems we're seeing in that Auckland CBD area.
Yeah, sure it does. Violent crime statistics. In mid-April, Paul Goldsmith and Mark Mitchell claimed that the latest New Zealand crime and victims survey showed that there were 158,000 victims of violent crime, and this was 28,000 fewer than the baseline set in October 2023. But rather than showing that all their work to restore law and order was somehow paying off, wasn't this more the case of mixing up monthly and yearly data? Could you comment on how Paul Goldsmith and Mark Mitchell are misusing statistics here?
Well, that crime and victim survey is a good data set. It provides some really useful information because it interviews victims of crime, and that has been going for some time. That data set run by the Ministry of Justice was always designed for an annual readout, if you want. So by doing it in a quarterly fashion, you'll know that if you think of a graph, things move like that. They'll go up, there'll be a gradual increase or a gradual decline over time, but there'll be noise, what you see in those spikes. So that's what they're reporting on now. You'll see it high and then low, and then high and then low. So it's not a credible way of actually reporting on those statistics. My bigger concern really is that we cannot get any data out of them around family violence occurrences. We know that the Minister said we don't want police attending family violence instances unless there's a real threat to life. And I know from when I was Minister of Police, the single biggest reason violent crime increased was the reporting of family violence. So if we are serious about getting on top of this problem for New Zealand, we want it to be reported. And I've got a real concern that some of those successes that we might be seeing in reduction of victims may well just be the unreported nature of family violence that this government seems to be almost encouraging by saying that police will only come if it's incredibly serious.
Yeah, it's kind of like just performative stuff that we're seeing, I think.
Totally, and all of any of those amazing groups such as Women's Refuge who work in our communities, they will say it's very hard to get police to come out, and they will say they're seeing increased levels of family violence, not decreased. So we'll continue asking those questions, but it would be a really sad thing to see that the government is fulfilling its promise of reducing victims of crime simply by not turning up to family violence instances, which is just kicking the can down the road and making life harder for the next generation of New Zealanders who deserve to be growing up in homes free from violence.
Yeah. What do you think of that target anyway? It's pretty shallow, isn't it? It's not much of a change. If you look at the data over a long period, a reduction in meeting their targets doesn't seem much different from a flat line, really, overall.
Well, we know in Labour what the biggest gain people get in reduction of crime and family violence. If people have got a job and employment and some opportunities to train, if they've got access to those good health services and can get the treatment they need, and thirdly, if they're housed, people have got a warm, safe, dry home. Those are the things that we believe in, jobs, health and homes, that over time ensures that people have the right settings. Under the current watch, we've seen a cat action going on there. That'll increase your, cats always increase whatever it is on social. What we're seeing though is unemployment go to record highs and homelessness increase, and those are all recipes for driving up crime. And so that's some real concerns that the decisions are not good decisions for New Zealanders.
Let's talk about shoplifting thresholds. Can you tell us what happened with the memo and how under Mark Mitchell's watch some police thought that they wouldn't be following up or investigating shoplifting if the total value of the stolen goods was less than $499?
Well, my view is that the superintendent who sent out that directive, that's actually what happens. And so you sort of kind of saw the minister and the commissioner doing a tap dance saying nothing to see here, when that's actually, if you talk to any retail community, any business organisation, they'll say that trying to get someone to turn up from police if it's under that threshold is very difficult. And since then, I think Radio New Zealand has said that there's 2,000 instances of shoplifting that have not been investigated because they were around that level.
Wow.
It is really concerning that they're not taking greater action in this space. We've seen stuff like the citizens arrest, which is basically people taking law into their own hands. And Sunny Koshal, the chair of the Administrative Advisory Group, he gets paid $925 a day to come up with ideas that he gave our government for free, and we said that they weren't great ideas back then. One of the things they could have done that they haven't is there's a retail crime group that does great work. It was set up under us. Let's put more resource into that. They're the group that prepare the files for prosecution. And one of the things that really weigh down police officers is it's the arresting officer or the officer in charge who's responsible for preparing all of that information for court to get a prosecution. It takes a lot of their time when they could be out fighting crime. That group set up under us meant that there's experts in there preparing the prosecution file with the best possible evidence, so it's all given to the police officer when they front up in court. If we did more of that, supporting police officers to come to court with good quality evidence and freeing them up to do the crime fighting, that seems to me like a much smarter way of getting on top of retail crime.
Crimes legislation amendment bill, stalking and harassment. You're busy working on this. What's the result of your... You have to go, do you? So where are we up to on that legislation, and what are the main points behind it?
So right now we are waiting in the House for the committee stage. So that's when the House sits as a committee of the whole and we're able to propose amendments to the bill. The government's already made some quite significant changes, which I've been really pleased. They've been quite constructive about this particular bill. We've changed the actual definition of the offence to make it easier to be able to get a prosecution. That where they started was it was going to be quite difficult to actually for a stalker to meet that threshold. The next change I'm asking for, and the other point I should actually make, Jared, it's important, is that Paul Goldsmith said that this wasn't a priority. When I had a members bill for it, he said that this was, we've got a lot of work to do on our, justice work program. This isn't a top priority. But when I put a members bill in, and then thousands of women and New Zealanders signed the petition, and that was delivered to Paul Goldsmith on steps of Parliament, that's actually when he agreed to take action and to introduce legislation within a year. And so, true to his word, he's turned around and he's actually done that. But the last change we want to see is about the mental element of the crime. We've kind of done the action. So in any criminal offence, you've got to have the action, the actus reus, and the mental element that you intended to do it. So one of the issues with stalking is that proving someone intended to cause harm when they're deluded about how a person might feel about them is really going to be difficult to prove. So one of the changes I'm asking for is to introduce an average person test, that they should have known that their actions were going to cause harm, not that they did know. And so that's one of I'm going to try and see if the government will agree to that change. That's backed really strongly by by all of those, the Backbone Collective, the Auckland's Women's Centre. There's been a number of advocacy groups who have really pushed for this legislation, and it's their strong view that these changes should take place. So we'll wait and see. I'm not holding my breath whether the government will agree to those changes, but we'll have a go and see if we can get them through.
It's happening right now. Well done. Let's talk about jobs and incomes. How many jobs have been lost in construction since National took office? And are the government really all delulu and no salulu when it comes to jobs and better incomes?
It's 18,000 is the number, and that's a number that has been used by Statistics New Zealand. Nicola Willis disputes that that's the actual figure. We know from talking to the construction industry that they're on their knees right now. I was actually at the Wainui Rugby Prize giving last weekend, I think it was, maybe the weekend before, and a guy there who's about my age, who's a mechanic for those, some of those big machines you'll see in construction, has finally given in and taken a job in Western Australia. And his company is going to pay for him to fly back and forwards every 3 weeks to see his family. They're staying in Wainui. But that's just an example of a really trained, skilled person who we should be being able to hold here, and he can't get work right now here, and he's gone to Australia. And so there's 17,999 other people like that. If we're going to build our economy and grow it and have good wages here, simply letting people go and cancelling stuff and then relying on immigration to restart the wheels is just a stop-start way of going. And so many economists have said that this is what's really not only deepened but lengthened the economic recession that we're currently in.
The government say they're really aspirational about creating high-paying jobs, but we're just seeing record numbers of people leaving for Australia, like you're saying, leaving New Zealand, and that masks just how bad unemployment is as well. So what's really going on, behind the scenes?
They don't have a plan, essentially. They are saying that they're going to try to bring down inflation, and that seems to be just through the OCR. It's the only mechanism that's working. But we've seen that's not working because we know our rates are going up, we know our road user charges are going up, we know our electricity prices are going up, our butter is going up, our mince is going up. All of these other prices that are coming up, insurance is another one. All those levies in different areas have negated any benefit someone might have seen from their mortgage rate coming down a bit. So Kiwis are not feeling it. And there's no stimulus. There's no training programs. There's no incentives to take on people, for people to retrain in different areas or to look at opportunities in new areas. There's no hope. And so that's what's really missing from this area, is that even when you see the Auckland business sector calling out for the government to do something, you know that Christopher Luxon and his government is really in trouble right now.
Wow. So finally, when it comes to restoring law and order and fixing the economy to provide higher paying jobs, how would you sum up the outcomes that we're seeing so far?
Underwhelming, at least, and at worst, devastating. We've seen people's lives completely undone through losing their job and through not being able to pay their bills, not being able to give their kids the things they need in winter, like the shoes or the food or the extra jersey when it's cold. Like those are real impacts on people's lives. And I think that's where this government is failing. Nicola Willis is on record when asked what do you say to those people who've lost their job, and she says that they shouldn't take it personally. Well, they damn well do take it personally. I know, and so there is a growing and swelling fear of real anger towards this government for the complete lack of care for human beings and the impact of the economic decisions have caused so much pain and hurt in our communities. So we need to keep working in Labour as we will, because people need a vision of what type of a country we want to live in. And we want an economy that works for everybody, not just those people at the top. Someone who's prepared to work hard should be able to get ahead and get the training and the skills and the house and the life that they want to have here in New Zealand. We all love New Zealand. It's a beautiful country. And it really saddens me that people don't see a future for themselves right here.
Thank you so much, Jenny, for joining us today on G News. It's been really good to hear from you, and wish you all the best with your fight for better jobs and better incomes, and for all the work that you have done. I've probably got one more question, really, to be honest. I know you have to go, but it's just the last one is really treaty negotiations and Maori-Crown relations. To most of us, the Crown's done a lot of damage here, but they keep hiding behind rhetoric like, oh, not all Maori think the same. But so what's your view on the damage that this government's really done to Crown-Maori relationships?
There's been huge damage done to that Māori-Crown relationship, and it's deeply saddening for me to see how that was built up over years, to see how that's undermined. But I think the damage actually goes further than just the Māori-Crown relationship, and I start to see this when I engage with ethnic communities. I do a lot of work, particularly in around Indian community in Auckland, and one of the things I'm starting to see is that it's racism. I'll say it's that the racism that was driven through the Treaty Principles Bill and the overall anti-Māori agenda has unleashed a level of hate in New Zealand that we've not seen before, and that has bubbled over into other communities. And now we are starting to see instances of racism against those communities, and they feel that, they see that now. So it's really saddening when you have a new chief executive of Air New Zealand being announced and having to shut down comments on more than one platform because of the racist abuse received due to his ethnicity. And I've never seen that in New Zealand before. I've never seen that happen. And so I believe that there is a real link with that anti-Māori, anti-treaty agenda and the wider discord and disharmony we're seeing in our community. And I love New Zealand for the reason that I want my kids growing up in a country where people respect and care and look after each other and treat each other right. And the Treaty of Waitangi is the platform, or is the basis on which we all connect to each other. And the more that we recognise that it's a Māori-Crown relationship, but it sets the tone, it sets the scene on how all New Zealanders treat each other and engage with each other. So when you start hacking away at that, it raises real concern about how it impacts the fabric of our communities.
Thank you very much, Jenny, and we'd love to have you back on our show again soon. You have a good day, and good.
Sorry for
Hopefully,
that. I apologise to listeners. That's something's on my computer I could not turn off. Now I'm 50. Like my technology skills are not great, so I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's been really great to hear from you, and I'm sorry about Monty the cat trying to steal the show. But, we'll catch you again soon.
Awesome. You take care.
Welcome to G News, the good news.